There's a universal feeling we all know. It's that spark of excitement when a new idea grabs you. You decide you're finally going to learn to code, or play the guitar, or speak Spanish. You buy the books, you watch the tutorials, you're filled with this incredible energy. And for a week, it's great. But then, it happens. You hit a wall. The progress that felt so fast at the beginning slows to a crawl. The guitar chords sound clumsy. The code throws endless errors. The Spanish words just won't stick in your brain. You feel stuck. You start to think, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. Maybe I don't have the talent. This is the exact moment where most people quit. But what if I told you the problem isn't you? It's not about talent, or genetics, or some kind of innate gift. The problem is your method. You've been trying to learn the way you were taught in school, by consuming massive amounts of information and hoping some of it sticks. You've been trying to swallow the entire elephant in one bite. Today, we're going to change that. We're going to give you a reliable, 4-step system to learn any skill, faster and more effectively than you ever thought possible. Let's get started. Step 1. Deconstruct the skill. Your brain hates complexity. When you say, I want to learn to draw, you're not presenting your brain with a task. You're presenting it with a giant, terrifying cloud of undefined actions. It's overwhelming, and an overwhelmed brain leads to procrastination. The first and most crucial step is to break that cloud down into its smallest, most concrete parts. You need to turn the giant elephant into bite-sized pieces. Think of it like building with Legos. You don't just get a box of bricks and a picture of a spaceship and start clicking things together randomly. You get a set of instructions. Step 1. Connect these 2 blue pieces. Step 2. Add this small gray piece. You focus on one tiny, manageable task at a time. Learning is the exact same. So, take the skill you want to learn. Let's stick with drawing. What is drawing, really? It's not one thing. It's a collection of sub-skills. There's learning to see basic shapes in complex objects. There's understanding perspective. There's line control. There's shading and light. There's composition. Suddenly, learn to draw becomes a checklist of much smaller, less intimidating skills. You're no longer facing a monster. You're facing a to-do list. This process, called deconstruction, does something powerful psychologically. It removes the intimidation factor. You don't have to learn to draw today. You just have to practice drawing straight lines for 15 minutes. Anyone can do that. Then, you practice drawing circles. Then, you practice combining those lines and circles to create simple forms. Each step is a small win, and those small wins build momentum and confidence. So before you do anything else, grab a piece of paper. Write the skill at the top, and then, break it down into the smallest possible component parts you can think of. This is your new roadmap. Step 2. Learn just enough to practice. This is where most people go wrong, and it might sound counterintuitive. Your instinct, once you have your list of sub-skills, is to learn everything you possibly can about the first one. You buy 5 books on perspective, watch 20 hours of YouTube tutorials, and read every article you can find. You fall into the trap of over-researching. You feel productive because you're consuming information, but you're not actually building the skill. This is called analysis paralysis. The goal is not to become a theoretical expert. The goal is to become a practitioner. To do that, you need to learn just enough to be able to start practicing intelligently and self-correct. Think about the 80-20th principle. It states that, in many cases, 80% of the results come from 20% of the effort. This applies directly to learning. Identify the critical 20% of knowledge you need to get 80% of the way there. If you want to learn to cook, you don't need to read the entire Larousse Gastronomie cover to cover. You need to learn how to properly handle a knife, how to control heat on a stovetop, and the basics of seasoning. With just those 3 things, you can cook thousands of different meals. Let's apply this to learning a new language. You could spend 6 months memorizing complex grammar rules. Or, you could identify the 200 to 300 most common words in that language, learn basic sentence structure, subject, verb, object, and start forming your own simple sentences immediately. I want water. Where is the bathroom? This is good. Is it perfect? No. But you are actively using the language on day 1. You've skipped the paralysis and jumped straight to practice. The detailed grammar rules can come later, once you have a functional foundation. So, For each sub-skill you identified in step 1, ask yourself, what are the critical few concepts I need to understand to start practicing this? Learn only that. Then, put the book down, close the video, and start doing. Step 3. Practice deliberately. Okay, you've broken the skill down and you've learned just enough to get started. Now comes the part everyone talks about, practice. But there's a massive difference between mindless repetition and what psychologists call deliberate practice. Mindless practice is what you see when someone strums the same 4 chords on a guitar over and over while watching TV. They're going through the motions, but they aren't improving. They're just solidifying their current habits, flaws and all. Deliberate practice is different. It's focused, it's intentional, and honestly, it's not always fun. It happens when you push yourself just outside your comfort zone. Imagine a weightlifter. They don't just lift the same 50-pound weight every single day. To get stronger, they have to push for 55 pounds. It's that struggle, that last difficult repetition where the muscle tears a little, that forces it to rebuild stronger. Learning works the same way. Growth happens at the edge of your ability. Deliberate practice is a feedback loop. It looks like this. You practice a specific sub-skill with intense focus. You stop and critically assess your performance. You identify one specific weakness. You adjust your technique to correct that single weakness. Then, you repeat the process. Let's say you're learning to give presentations. Mindless practice is just running through your speech 10 times. Deliberate practice is recording yourself giving the speech. Then you watch it back, but only to find one thing to fix. Maybe you notice you say, every 15 seconds. Okay, for the next practice run, your only goal is to reduce the number of ums. You don't worry about your hand gestures or your vocal tone. You focus solely on that one weakness. Once you've improved that, you watch the recording again and find the next thing to fix. Maybe your posture, and so on. This is why it feels hard. It forces you to confront your mistakes, over and over again. But this focused, targeted effort is the fastest way to make meaningful progress. Don't just put in the hours. Make the hours count. Focus on your weaknesses, not your strengths. Step 4. Seek rapid, uncomfortable feedback. This last step is the great accelerator. You can do everything else right, but without this, your progress will be 10 times slower. You need to get outside your own head. Why? Because your brain is a brilliant liar. It will tell you you're doing great. It will smooth over your mistakes and convince you that you're improving faster than you really are. This is a self-preservation mechanism. To truly improve, you need an objective mirror. You need feedback, and you need it to be as fast and as direct as possible. The longer you wait for feedback, the more you ingrain bad habits. It's like learning to swing a golf club. If you practice with a flawed swing for 6 months, that flawed motion becomes your default. It's now deeply embedded in your muscle memory. It would have been far easier to have a coach correct your grip on the very first day. Getting feedback can be uncomfortable. It requires humility. It means admitting you don't have all the answers and opening yourself up to criticism. But this is essential. Find a mentor, a coach, or a teacher who is ahead of you on the path. Ask them for brutally honest feedback. Show a senior developer your code and ask them to tear it apart. Ask a native speaker to correct every single one of your pronunciation mistakes. If you can't find a person, use technology. There are apps that use AI to analyze your accent. There are programs that will analyze your writing and suggest improvements. You can record yourself, as we mentioned earlier, and compare your performance directly to that of an expert. The key is to create short feedback loops. Don't practice for a month and then ask for feedback. Practice for an hour, get feedback. Make an adjustment, practice again, get more feedback. The faster the loop, the faster you learn. So, let's bring it all together. The system is simple. 1. Deconstruct the skill into its smallest parts. 2. Learn just enough about each part to be able to practice. 3. Use deliberate practice, focusing intensely on your weaknesses. And 4. Create rapid feedback loops to correct your course. Notice that talent is never part of the equation. This process isn't about being gifted. It's about being smart with your effort. It's about having a blueprint. The next time you feel that spark to learn something new, don't just dive in headfirst. Stop, take a breath, and apply this framework. You are in complete control of your ability to learn. The only thing standing between you and that new skill isn't a lack of talent. It's the lack of a system. Now you have one. Go build something.